Welcome back to First Verse with Steve and Marissa.
We're almost done with Numbers.
Woo woo. Okay, we are in Numbers chapter 35. Cities for the Levites.
Mine says towns for the Levites.
Well, cities are better than towns, so I guess I'll start
Okay.
with thingy. And the Lord spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho, saying, Command the children of Israel that they give the Levites cities to dwell in from the inheritance of their possession, and you shall also give the Levites common land around the cities. They shall have cities to dwell in, and their common land shall be for their cattle, for their herds, and for all their animals. The common land of cities, which you will give the Levites, shall extend from the wall of the city outward 1,000 cubits around. And you shall measure the outside of the city on the east side 2,000 cubits, on the south side 2,000 cubits, and on the west side 2,000 cubits, and on the north side 2,000 cubits. That's interesting. Hang on a second. Okay. I'll get back to that in a second. And the north side. The city shall be in the middle. This shall belong to them as a common land for the cities. Verse 6. Now,
Mine has verse 6 titled as a different section.
cities of refuge.
I don't know why yours says common land. Like, that's so confusing. Because mine says give them pasture lands around the towns.
Yeah, I think I like
the
that.
pasture lands around the towns that you give the Levites will extend out, et cetera, et cetera. So 1,000 cubits would have been about 450 meters. I don't know how long that is in U.S. measurements, because what's a meter?
What's a meter? Yeah.
And then 2,000 cubits would have been about 900 meters. So that's a good portion of land. Like, it's not, I wouldn't think it's super big because I remember doing the 400-meter dash.
So what really stands out is the north, south, east, and west shall be 2,000 cubits. So everything that God ordains is to bring the kingdom of heaven on earth. That's what Jesus preached. I come to bring my Father's kingdom. Everything that we have here is a shadow of what we read in Revelation. This sounds like the New Jerusalem, or at least way smaller on scale, but the New Jerusalem. The New Jerusalem at the end in Revelation 20 or 22, or 21, somewhere at the end, is basically a giant tesseract. It's a giant cube-like city that has many features. That's where Jesus can say, "My Father's house has many mansions." Well, how can your house have have bigger houses inside that? That's how.
And then I have another note on that first section. The Levites were ministers. They were supported by the tithes of the people who gave them homes, flocks, and pasture lands. Likewise, we are responsible to provide for the needs of our ministers and missionaries so they can be free to do their God-ordained work.
Amen.
Amen.
Concerning the Levites, the tender love that portioned out a godly heritage to each tribe, to the weakest as well as the strongest, did not fail to provide a fitting maintenance for the Levites. Thus 8 cities were given to him in all Israel. Thus Genesis 49:7 was fulfilled. I gotta see what that is now.
I'll start reading the next section while he's looking that up. Cities of refuge. We've studied this before because when we were looking at 1st and 2nd Samuel, it talked about the cities of refuge, especially when Absalom was trying to seek refuge for murdering his brother. So, this is explaining what those are and why we have them.
Genesis 49:7 says, "Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel." So this is Jacob's prophecy to his 12 sons.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Cities of refuge. Verse 6. 6 of the towns you give the Levites will be cities of refuge to which a person who has killed someone may flee. In addition, give them 42 other towns. In all, you must give the Levites 48 towns together with their pasture lands. The towns you give the Levites from the land the Israelites possess are to be given in proportion to the inheritance of each tribe. Take many towns from a tribe that has many, but few from one that has few. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you cross the Jordan into Canaan, select some towns to be your cities of refuge to which a person who has killed someone accidentally may flee." I find it interesting that they add that clause of accidentally killed someone.
Sometimes accidents happen.
I guess so. Verse 12, they will be places of refuge from the avenger so that a person accused of murder may not die before he stands trial before the assembly. These 6 towns you give will be your cities of refuge. Give 3 on this side of the Jordan and 3 in Canaan as cities of refuge. These 6 towns will be a place of refuge for Israelites, aliens, and any other people living among them so that anyone who has killed another accidentally can flee there. If a man strikes someone with an iron object, super specific, so that he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall be put to death. Or if anyone has a stone in his hand that could kill, and he strikes someone so that he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall be put to death. I really hope YouTube doesn't hear all these words and think
flagged. Yeah.
Yeah. Verse 18, or if anyone has a wooden object in his hand that could kill, and he hits someone so that he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall be put to death. The avenger of blood shall put the murderer to death. When he meets him, he shall put him to death. If anyone with malice, a forethought, shoves another or throws something at him intentionally so that he dies, or if in hostility he hits him with his fist so that he dies, that person shall be put to death. He is a murderer. The avenger of blood shall put the murderer to death when he meets him. I feel like I just a forethought shoves another or throws something at him intentionally so that he dies, or if in hostility he hits him with his fist so that he dies, that person shall be put to death. He is a murderer. The avenger of blood shall put the murderer to death when he meets him. But then how... I guess this would be the avenger meeting them if they're not in the city of refuge. Clearly a murder.
Yep.
Okay. Verse 22. But if without hostility someone suddenly shoves another or throws something at him unintentionally, or without seeing him drops a stone on him that could kill him, and he dies, then since he was not his enemy and he did not intend to harm him, the assembly must judge between him and the avenger of blood according to these regulations. The assembly must protect the one accused of murder from the avenger of blood and send him back to the city of refuge to which he fled. He must stay there until the death of the high priest who was anointed with the holy oil. But if the accused ever goes outside the limits of the city of refuge to which he has fled, and the avenger of blood finds him outside the city, the avenger of blood may kill the accused without being guilty of murder. Jeez. The accused must stay in his city of refuge until the death of the high priest. Only after the death of the high priest may he return to his own property. So,
Yikes.
When David sent people to get Absalom out of Shechem, Like, it was that much more grave because him being out of Shechem meant that any of his brother's relatives could have killed him to avenge brother's death.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Verse 28, the accused must stay in his city of refuge until the death of the high priest. Only after the death of the high priest may he return to his own property. These are to be legal requirements for you throughout the generations to come, wherever you live. Anyone who kills a person is to be put to death as a murderer, only on the testimony of witnesses, but no one is to be put to death on the testimony of only one witness.
So it'll be 2 or 3.
Do not accept a ransom for the life of a murderer who deserves to die. He must surely be put to death.
Wow.
Do not accept a ransom for anyone who has fled to a city of refuge and so allow him to go back and live on his own land before the death of the high priest. Do not pollute the land where you are. Bloodshed pollutes the land. An atonement cannot be made for land on which blood has been shed, except by the blood of the one who shed it. Do not defile the land where you live and where I dwell, for I, the Lord, dwell among the Israelites. Man.
Pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I've got some notes.
Can I say what's on my mind right quick?
Yeah.
That last part about shedding blood, innocent blood, and therefore do not defile the land which you inhabit, in the midst of which, let's see, you shall not pollute the land where you are, for blood defiles the land, and no atonement can be made for the land. Interesting. No atonement can be made for the land, but atonement can be made for man. That's through Jesus. There's no tree,
right away too.
nature, Woodstock, Jesus that will purify the land. That is only done in Revelation.
Okay, so my first note is clarifying the Levite cities, because it did read a little weird. Of the 48 cities given to the Levites, 6 of those 48 cities were cities of refuge. These 6 cities were probably put under the Levite supervision because they would be the most impartial judges. I mean, you would hope they're priests.
Yeah.
Such cities were needed because of the ancient customs of justice called for revenge in the event of a death of a relative or a loved one. This is mentioned in 2 Samuel 14:7. The Levites would hold a preliminary hearing outside the gates while the accused person was kept in the city until the time of his trial. If the killing was judged accidental, the person would stay in the refuge city until the death of the high priest. So, man, like, that was just like their penance.
That is where they're staying from.
Yeah. Like, no traveling. Like, my brother recently got into the Navy, and I don't know, this is reminding me of like all the rules and restrictions. Like, he can't leave the state until he's done with his 2 years of school. He is restricted to stay in the state of his A school. So, but like, they would be there until the high priest died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
At that time, he would be allowed to go free, and he could start a new life without worrying about avengers. If it was not accidental, the person would be delivered to the slain person's avengers. This system of justice shows how God's law and his mercy go hand in hand. And the 6 cities, we have a little map here. There, it's Hebron, Shechem, Kadesh, Golan, Ramoth, and Bezer. Bezer? I don't know. My other note is just like regarding verse 11 to verse 28, which I think it's almost the end of the chapter, but not quite. If anyone died because of violence, murder was assumed, but the murder suspect was not automatically assumed guilty. The cities of refuge assured the accused that justice would be served. But if he or she left the city, then he or she would be assumed guilty, and able to be killed by the avenging party. So, like, them leaving the city was basically an admission of guilt, whether or not they wanted to admit guilt.
Yeah.
The people were to be intolerant of the sin, yet impartial to the accused so that he or she could have a fair trial. The cities of refuge represented God's concern for justice in a culture that did not always protect the innocent. It is unjust both to overlook wrongdoing and to jump to conclusions about guilt. When someone is accused of wrongdoing, stand up for justice, protect those not yet proven guilty, and listen carefully to all sides of the story. Okay, I'm going to look up 2 Samuel. That's
So-
pretty much all I got for notes.
Swaggart has an interesting note. It says, so on verse 33, you shall not pollute the land wherein you are, the blood defiles the land. If a person commits cold-blooded murder and there are 2 or more eyewitnesses, such a person must be executed. To not take proper steps in situations pollutes the land. Okay, so there's a way to not pollute the land if you take care of the murderer. So that means regarding the untold thousands of abortions performed each year in the United States, that the land is polluted with blood. One day God will demand payment. That's what I thought as well. There's
I didn't even think about
murders,
that, man.
untold millions, innocents murdered.
And they don't even see it as murder. The ones making that choice. I mean, there
Yeah.
are people who have like come to Jesus and repented of that sin and are broken over it.
Mm-hmm.
But when they're in the middle of it, like they don't see it as a sin. They don't see it as murder. They see it as, this is my ticket to getting out of an unwanted pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, anyways, the delusion of that is mind-boggling. 2 Samuel 14 verse 7 says, now the whole clan has risen up against your servant. They say, hand over the one who struck his brother down, that would be Absalom, so that we may put him to death for the life of his brother whom he killed. Then we will get rid of the heir as well. They would put out the only burning coal I have left, leaving my husband, neither name nor descendant, on the face of the earth. I think, if I remember right, this was the chapter where, like, was it Nathan that sent this woman to do, like, the whole analogy?
Nathan the prophet?
Yeah.
No, Nathan the prophet appeared before the king and was like, oh,
no, this was Joab's doing.
yeah,
He sent a wise woman to King David.
that's right. I remember that now.
Okay. Because I'm like, I think, because there was another analogy in 2 Samuel where, like, David was like, yeah, duh, you would pick this option.
Yeah, you would obviously kill the person.
And then the
who
prophet's
did that.
just like,
It's like, bro, that's you.
Hello?
Ding, ding, ding. Glad you said it, not me.
Right. Yeah. So this was Joab's doing of trying to get David to pull Absalom out for avenging.
It was a wise plan. I mean,
Yeah.
David has a heart for.
Wasn't Joab the one who
women.
basically took Absalom out? Right?
Is either. You see, Joab is from the tribe of Judah. What's Abner is the other one.
Well, but Joab took out Abner
Yeah,
because
Joab killed Abner.
Yeah.
Joab was always cunning and smart. He just wasn't. His heart was never really with the Lord.
Because Absalom got caught up in an oak tree by his hair.
Yeah.
His long, gorgeous hair.
Long, gorgeous hair that he prided himself on.
Oh, yeah, it was Joab. Because 2 Samuel chapter 18, verse 14, Joab said, I'm not going to wait like this for you. So he took 3 javelins in his hand and plunged them into Absalom's heart while Absalom was still alive in the oak tree. And 10 of Joab's armor bearers surrounded Absalom, struck him, and killed him.
Whew,
So
man.
Joab and his armor bearers.
Yeah, well.
But I mean, Absalom did some pretty unremorseful stuff.
Yes.
Like, I get why he took his brother out, because his brother made some devious choices too. But
he after,
you got to read Second Samuel.
after David's kids did the things they didn't seek repentance.
No.
They sought to be hidden out. They sought to hide their sin.
He went to the refuge city so that he wouldn't be killed. He didn't go there because he was sorry for what he did.
Yeah. He's like, I know how the law works.
Yep. All right. I don't have anything else. Do you?
Nope. You can say the closing remarks.
All right. We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing.
Nothing at all.